Being a Christian woman and walking in God's calling for our lives can be a difficult task. With the world and pop culture telling us to be one way, and the Bible saying another, you kind of end up feeling like an other. Well, you're not alone. Join me now and my friends as we navigate life in our 20s and 30s, while making sure we live out our faith, embrace our femininity, and looking cute. We discuss pop culture, life, careers, relationships, and so much more. Prepare to be entertained and educated. I know you're going to love it. Join our movement and embrace being another girl. The views expressed on this podcast are our own and do not reflect our employers. Enjoy. Hello. You are listening to Those Were the Girls with Mallory and Friends. I'm Mallory, and this is a pop culture podcast, not like other pop culture podcasts. We're other girls. So super excited for today's episode. Might not be as long, but have a lot to cover. Not as long. We'll see how that goes. First thing I want to say is I read the book It Ends With Us, and I gave it a TOG score, and that episode is going to come out. Oh, and I recorded an oops spoilers for that, and that episode's going to come out this week. I don't remember which day, but just be on the lookout for that. And I gave it a TOG score, so if you're interested in watching or reading the book, by the time I read this, I'm not recording anything about the movie. I'm going back and forth whether I will. But if you are interested in reading the book and you don't mind it being spoiled, listen to that episode. If you've already read the book, listen to the episode. If you have no interest in reading the book, but you want to know what happened, listen to the episode. If you have an interest in reading the book, you don't want to know what happened, that episode's probably not for you. Oops, spoilers is the podcast. I'll link it, the podcast, in the show notes. Okay. A couple of things to discuss. I was going to discuss, I'll do it next week's episode, what I'm loving about the Olympics. I was going to have like a list and everything, but I think I'm going to do that next episode. There are some people, so if you know anything about me, I could care less about sports. But the Olympics, I don't know, I guess it's just like us versus them, like Americans, like USA. That like gets me into it. So every night before I go to bed, I like watch highlights, and like there's a couple people who really won my heart, and they've won the heart of everyone in the world and America as well. And I mean, we are just winners. Like, I don't expect anything less. Like, we're just winners. Like, we are better. Actually, let me play this TikTok that I think is so funny, that about the basketball. Even though I heard we were not doing too great, we were losing part of the basketball, and it's like, okay, that's one of the things we absolutely should not lose. Like, basketball is not something we can lose on. Okay, let me play this tickety talk for you guys. It's so funny. I'm proud of you. Oh, I'm free. Got a triple double from LeBron, 36 from Steph Curry, and I'm proudly stand up next to you as a lead every other country. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless USA. Yeah, and it's about how we beat Serbia, which I heard we almost did not. So, you know, I don't know if you guys are listening, but get it together. We can't lose basketball. Anyway, love it. I love the Steve. You know, I love the rugby girl. I need to hear someone say her name because I don't want to mess it up. But you know, I love her. People have been sending me things about her. I love her. I already love her. Love that couple, the track couple, the girl that runs track for, I guess, regular Olympics, and then the guy runs it for, he's in the Paralympics. Like, they're both track runners. Tara and Hunter, I think, are their names. Chef's kiss, cutest couple. The couple that I said I wasn't going to do this. Whatever, I'm going to do it. I'll be more precise next time. The couple that from Australia, they won gold, and they're not American, but because of this cute love story, I will let it slide. They were together, then they broke up, but they said they're still going to do it, and then they won. I'm sorry, be together. I don't know why you broke up. Go ahead and fix that. Like, work on that, and then be together. Like, that's just kind of what you need, we need, the world needs, like, be together. Who else am I loving? Oh, Katie Ledecky, Chef's Kiss. She's so sweet, and all the little girls looking up to her, absolutely adore. A girl that my mom swears we grew up with. Never seen the girl a day in my life, but she's from Charlotte, Mecklenburg. She won gold. I think it was her first gold ever. So like, ooh. Never seen that girl. My mom's like, no, she did this with you, did that with you. I'm like, no, she didn't. But shout out to her. Oh, the lady who was pregnant, and then she won, and she said, she loves God, something along those lines. Love that. Oh, the other pregnant archer, okay. Some of the shot put men, okay. Love it. I'm loving it all. USA. The fashion, I mean, the fits. Not every country. Some countries like, yikes. We slayed. Like, let's those jackets, absolutely adore. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I saw this video about the Paralympics. They're in, I'll just play the video. Let me just pull this bad boy up. I need a break because this has been going on long enough, but I'm going to watch the Paralympics this year, I guess. After hearing this gentleman, this is what he says.
Being during the Olympics is wild. Let me try to explain why. Imagine you were at this incredible party. There's people from all over the world there. Everyone's having a great time. It's something everyone wants to be at. People can't stop talking about it. It's just the best, right? The hosts, people there, all your friends are there. This is freaking awesome, right? In the back of your mind, remember, well, I've got my party in 2 weeks. I hope everyone remembers. I hope everyone at this party knows that they're invited to my party. And if they had a good time at this party, they're going to have a good time at my party too. That's pretty much what it's like. Olympics are awesome. You should keep watching the Olympics. These are incredible. I'm not going to stop watching. As Paralympians, it's sort of like, don't forget that you got a couple weeks off and then we ride again. We in USA or whatever nation you might be supporting. So consider this your official invitation. Starting August 28th, to watch Paralympic Games, to watch Team USA. Make sure you send this to someone because, invitations can get lost in the mail sometimes. Let's go.
So, August 28th, I guess I'm watching the Paralympics. That was compelling. And once again, I'm expecting the U.S. to dominate. Let me stop. I don't even fully understand most of the games. So that's Olympics. I'll probably do like a full, more like what I like, who I liked, who I didn't like, blah, 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 next episode. So let me pull up the docket. Pull up the docket again. The docket. Okay, so let's talk about, I guess let's get the hard stuff out of the way. So everyone knows the story. You guys have already heard it, but I'm going to read it. Okay, another suspect was arrested in connection to the planned terrorist attack on Taylor Swift's concert. This is by USA Today. Another person was taken into custody in connection with a suspected terrorist plot to attack Taylor Swift concert in Vienna. The 18-year-old suspect was arrested on Thursday, said that the Iraqi national comes from the same circle as the main suspect, the Rupert reports. Carner gave the update during a news conference. It comes after the arrest of two others, including a 19-year-old Austrian who was accused of planning a deadly attack at Ernst Happel Stadium with, quote, bladed weapons as well as the construction of a bomb. He quit his job just days before. During a search of the suspect's home, officials found chemical substances, liquids, explosives, and technical devices that could be used to manufacture explosives. He wanted to carry out an attack in the arena outside the stadium, killing as many people as possible using knives or even using explosive devices he had made. And that's all I really want to say in regards to like the technicals of that. Yeah, that's all I want to say in regards to the technicals of that particular story. What I want to talk about is like, what do we do next? First of all, my heart goes out to Taylor as well. I mean, I cannot imagine being this close like, and someone using your concert to do this. I mean, and I don't know if you guys remember when this happened to Ariana Grande, and Ariana Grande has not been the same since. And how do you move forward? Like, someone's using your concert, you're here to bring forth happiness, and like these people, well, I don't want to get too technical about it. But yeah, so my heart really goes out to her. That must be, I mean, that's terrifying. That must be scary. My heart goes out to people who spend lots of money to see this. And I think what's so crazy about, and what's just so awful about this is like, people were going to a concert to have fun, to just, some people went on vacation just to relax, to like, this is supposed to be a happy occasion. You're just supposed to like enjoy life, like the ride, life. But instead, this absolutely insane, crazy person has decided that they wanted to destroy life. They wanted to kill people. And I mean, that's awful. What do we do from here though? Like, that's my next thing. Like, do you think she should cancel the rest of the concerts? In a Facebook group, someone asked that question, and like my response is, I don't know. Half of me is like, yes, it's dangerous for her, the fans, her family, her friends. It is, and I'll make a prediction in a second, but like, I think that's dangerous because, I mean, copycats, I'm sure, unfortunately, they might not be, well, I'm not sure, but there could be other people who had already planned to do something similar, and now that they know that it's going to be like this, they're going to maybe work harder. I don't know. So like, half of me is saying that, and the other half of me is like, no, we can, like, they do these things to cause terror. They want us afraid. They want us not to be able to enjoy our lives. They want us to be so scared to go to concerts. We just sit at home all day. We stay on our computers and like, we don't interact with people. They want us to not want to go to the grocery store. They want us to not go to church. They want to terrorize us so that we don't leave. And when we give into that, we are giving into them. We're letting them win. Being afraid in our rooms, like, being nervous and scared all the time, like that lets them win. That's what they want. They're winning when we do that. So I go back and forth. I don't know what the right answer is. I don't judge her or anyone involved in the planning of this either way. Like, I'm not judging either way. I don't know how to, I don't know what to do. And, another thing is stabbings. I feel like I've been seeing a lot of stabbings lately. How do you fight off a knife? I'll look into that. Maybe I'll talk about that next week. But like, how do you fight off a knife? I can just look this up now. What to do in a knife attack? Because, I mean, a gun, you can hide, but knives, they have to be really close to you. And if they're already that close to you, it's just a different type of attack, I feel like. What to do in a knife attack. Let's see. How to defend it. Wiki, how to defend. No, I'm going to have to. No, Wiki. And then the pictures aren't serious to me. I'll look it up. Oh, maybe I'll have someone come on the podcast and talk about that. Yeah, maybe I'll have someone, come on the podcast and talk about that. But I mean, where do we go? Do we sit in fear? And how do we stop this? And, this radicalizing kids on the internet is getting, it's been out of hand, but I think this is why it's so important for us to try to do what we can to get these kids to get off the internet. The internet has good aspects when it comes to community. I'll say that the season I'm in right now, there's no one else in my life, not a single soul in my life understands what I'm going through, and like all this like things emotionally and like blah 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 that I'm going through. I have found people online that do, and that is so comforting. So there's positive in the internet. Then there's the other aspect. The other aspect of finding people who are also into the same thing you're into, but you guys aren't really helping each other. You're making each other worse. And that is something that happens far too often. Far too often. And what do we do to fix, like, how do we fix that? I think, especially for young boys, we have to have men step up. Women, we can't fix this. This is not something women can fix. I don't know if it was, I don't remember. I vaguely remember this woman saying that she wished she had been Hitler's mother to love him enough or something like that. You guys remember, you know what I'm talking, or maybe Putin's mother to love him enough. You guys remember what I'm talking about? Like, that's not, we can, like, I'm sure that makes a difference. I'm sure that helps. But like, that's not what's going to fix this. It has to be other men. Other men need to step up and be there. I think like mentoring other men, I don't know, but like this needs to be fixed and this is not right. This is not okay. So if you guys hadn't heard about that, now you know. Yay. Next story. This is brought to you by The Guardian. And I haven't heard anyone talk about this except for I listened to Up First for my daily drive. If you have, I'm a complete total Spotify girly now. I switched all my podcasts over to Spotify as well. Like, you know, podcasts that I record are all Spotify. And then the podcasts I was listening to Apple Podcasts. I'm like, nope, I'm switching over. So I switch everything over, my music, everything. I'm Spotify girly, Spotify. They don't sponsor me yet. They should. So they do this thing called Daily Drive. Let me just like talk about it for 2 seconds because I love it. It's called Daily Drive, and you open it, and they have it's Saturday, or they don't do Saturday. It's Monday through Friday. They do a Saturday one, but it's not like Monday through Friday is like the full official one. But I'm recording this Friday, so I can't show you. But it's like today is Wednesday, and this is your daily drive. And they'll do Up First, and then a couple episodes or a couple songs, and then an episode of a random show I don't listen to. A couple songs, an episode of a random show I don't listen to. A couple songs. Oh, this one's about It Ends With Us. Maybe I will listen to that. But it's fun. I like it. And so it's a mix of news and music made for you. It's today, Saturday. It's 3 hours and 14 minutes. So if I was going on a long drive, I could, if I wanted to, just click this and it'll do the news, play some fun bops, do some more. Like a podcast is interesting, play some fun bops, do another quick podcast is interesting, listen to some more bops. So yeah. So that's Daily Drive. Anyway, so I heard this on my Daily Drive, I think on Wednesday. So I was like, I have to look more into this. So this is from The Guardian. A U.S. judge ruled that the Google built an illegal monopoly. So what happens next? Listen to what the ruling found. The ruling found Google broke antitrust laws by making a multi-billion-dollar deals. Google lost its landmark antitrust case against the U.S. Department of Justice this week after a federal judge ruled the tech giant had built an illegal monopoly over online search and advertising in the industry. The decision will probably have immense implications for both Google's internal operations and how people interact with the most popular page on the internet. Judge Emmett Mehta's ruling specifically found that Google broke antitrust laws by striking exclusive agreements with devices makers like Apple and Samsung, in which Google would pay billions of dollars to ensure that its product was the default search engine on their phones and tablets. During the trial, it was revealed that Google had paid companies, including Apple, more than $26 billion in 2021 alone to remain the default option for search in Safari. Those deals allowed Google to build a monopoly over search and unfairly suppress competition, Mehat found. All right. So I kind of just want, because no one's really talking about that. So I'm just curious what the implications are going to be. I know that, so I'm sure they're going to lose lots of money. And I know that there's others. A lot of people use DuckDuckGo. I think I've used it maybe once. It's just, I don't know. It's not for me. I prefer to use Google. Bing was a thing for a while. I think Yahoo Search. So I'm curious. I mean, right now, I don't think it's going to change. Like, people aren't going to all of a sudden not use Google as much anymore. Because even to say, even if people who use DuckDuckGo, they'll be like, oh, I'm going to Google it on DuckDuckGo. So Google is just a word that we use now. So it's like, great great brand name recognition. So I'm just curious, like, what's going to happen with that. I don't really have much more to say about that, but I just thought that was interesting and I wanted to share it with you guys. Technically last article and then like something a little different. But last article, I have heard peeps here and there about people talking about it, but let's discuss more. This is from the New York Post. how stranded astronauts who went to ISS in school suspension on an 8-day voyage are preparing for a possible 6 months in space. 2 astronauts who launched on an 8-day voyage are now settling in for a possibility extended stay in orbit 262 miles above Earth and have spoken to their families about the possibility that they won't return home until 2025. Veteran astronaut Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams, who were piloting the maiden voyage of Boeing Starliner spacecraft, have been stuck in space for 63 days. Both Wilmore, 61, and Williams, 58, have been in frequent contact with their families as they wait their ultimate fate. Butch and Suni are ready to support whatever we need to do. End quote. Dana Wingamo, the program manager for the International Space Station, quote, they prepare for whatever path that we go down. From the start, Starliner has faced serious mechanical issues in its propulsion system, ultimately straining Whitmore and Williams at the International Space Station. In a media teleconference on Wednesday, NASA announced yet another delay in bringing them home and made it clear that the astronauts may not return on Starliner at all. Engineers are worried about the loss of control as Starliner returns to Earth and will conduct multiple tests in the coming weeks. And if they determine that the risks are too high, Wilmore and Williams would have no choice but to hop on SpaceX Crew 9 return flight in February 2025. SpaceX, by the way, is not NASA. SpaceX is Elon Musk. So NASA is probably going to end up having to use Elon Musk. While NASA is warning about possible risk on Starliner, its manufacturer is insisting that the return flight would be safe for the astronauts. In a statement on Friday, Boeing maintained that the returning of the in the craft would pose no risk to the astronauts. Boeing remains confident in the Starliner spacecraft and its ability to return safely with the crew. We continue to support NASA's request for additional testing data. So essentially, the problem is they're concerned about how it's going to return, and they might have to return back with Elon. So I don't know if you guys follow. Her name is Kelly Gennardi on Instagram. She's she's so cute. She has a daughter named Delta. She's an astronaut, and she does all this space stuff. I reached out to her and asked her to kind of explain a little bit. She never responded, which is fine. I don't mind. She's busy. She's like an influencer / astronaut / mother / wife. She got stuff going on. So I'm not mad at her about it. But you guys should follow her. Hopefully she'll talk about it and maybe explain hey, I know what's going on. But anyway, it sounds like they're stranded because they're not sure it'll be safe for them to return back. And they might have to return back with Elon's ship, which is so crazy. I was listening to the Toast, and they were saying how Elon and NASA kind of butt heads. So I'm sure NASA's they do not want to have to use Elon. But I mean, if he's the best way to get the astronauts back. And it's also kind of strange Boeing. Boeing is not doing good. I didn't realize Boeing made spacecrafts either. So they make planes, I mean, they got their hands on a lot of stuff. So yeah. That's what's going on in space. Last thing I want to talk about is the new vice presidential nominee, Tim Walz, who is running with Kamala Harris. I don't ever purposely mispronounce her name. In my head, I've always heard Kamala, but it is Kamala, and I will try to, because she's a human, I'm going to try to respect her. Kamala. Okay, so Kamala Harris picked Tim Walz. Now, let's be honest with ourselves. He is right now coming across surface level, not doing a lot of research. Surface level, coming across as a cool grandpa, but not as old as Joe grandpa. People keep saying dad, and I'm going to push back on that. I think he's younger than my dad, and my dad looks younger than him. Now, there is the aspect of, what's understood doesn't need to be said, but he gives me grandpa vibes, not dad vibes, but everybody's saying dad, but I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say grandpa. Either way, he's coming off as cool and sweet and he has a cute little smile, oh, my grandpa. Surface level. vibes, immaculate. I'm going to be honest. Like, he seemed like a decent guy. Hold up. We're not voting for a decent guy. We're voting for the administration that will be put in place. So what does that mean? That means we can acknowledge and be honest with ourselves. On surface level, he seems fine. We can be honest and acknowledge that. But because we are knowledgeable, because we understand we're voting for an administration, we can dig deeper. And let's dig deeper. One thing I want to point out this week, I'll point out more as the weeks go on, but one thing I want to point out this week is Tim Walz signed legislation requiring female hygiene products to be installed in boys' bathrooms. So it's virtue signaling. And what is a virtue signaling? It's virtue signaling the acceptance and allowance of children, underage children, making decisions about their bodies in that way. And this is something that Tim Walz does. Let me tell you about the other thing that he has done. This is from a Fox News article. Sanctuary state. Walz signed law making Minnesota a destination for transgender therapies for kids. Vice President Harris's running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, brings a track record to the Democrat ticket that could help energize the country's left-wing base, along with several progressive transgender policies aimed at children. Walz, a former Army National Guardsman and a former teacher, was one of the first governors to sign into law a bill making Minnesota a, quote, sanctuary state, end quote, for children seeking transgender surgical procedures and hormone prescriptions. This laid the groundwork for several more of his progressive LGBTQ policies. The law tells courts in Minnesota not to follow prosecutions from other states against people who come to Minnesota for treatments like puberty blockers, hormone therapy, or surgery. Before the law was passed, Walz had already issued an order May 2023 to prevent criminalization of transgender procedures in the state. Okay, so this is, we'll just end it with that part right there. That's what's important. This is all part of his this is very progressive. This is, no matter where you align politically, I think we can all agree that children should not be taking hormone treatments and surgeries. Whether you believe in transgenderism or not, whether you think it's good for the society or not, we can all agree that children should not be doing it. Okay? I understand the want and the need to want to help children that are struggling. I understand the want to need to protect your child if they are feeling this way. I understand that completely. And I do believe there are some people who do have gender dysphoria. I believe it's possible. I do also believe that some people do not. And this is just something different that they want to be a part of, which once again is a whole nother issue. And that's understandable, and that's something that can be worked through. That's something that can be worked through with talking and getting to know your child better. Something that can be worked through with therapies and things like that. Like, that is more of where the money should be going to. Because if this is a real issue, that's what they should be working toward. And this is someone with these type of policies. Because what we're voting for, even if he seemed like such a fun guy and like he really does care about people, what we're voting for are the administration who's going to and we're voting for people who are going to create policy. We're voting for the administration. We're voting for people who are going to be in charge of different agencies that will be affecting us. And someone with this type of mindset, someone who thinks like this is not someone that we want in charge of things that affect children. This is not okay. Giving children allowing them to make these permanent decisions at such a young age is not okay. And I think it's become, people don't want to be seen as mean or rude or like they don't care. And I don't either. Like, I truly care. That's why I'm saying something. So, you kind of like, well, the child, they really want that. No, it is okay to say a child should not make these type of permanent decisions. We can discuss after they turn 18. But right now we're discussing children. A child should not be able to make those type of permanent decisions. Someone who thinks this is an okay policy is not someone who should be in our White House. Point blank, period. And that's a wrap on Those Other Girls for the day. No, but I want to do more things like this. I kind of bring up other things that I'm seeing, just so you know, because I think it's important to talk about policy. Who cares that he's a nice, funny guy that, like, you know, you'd want to sit down and have dinner with? I don't care. He's running for an office. We don't need this type of administration. Okay. If you enjoyed this episode or have comments, questions, concerns, comment Spotify. You know, I'm a Spotify girly now. Comment on Spotify, on YouTube. Can't comment on Apple, but leave a review if you have ideas of things you want us to talk about. If you want someone to come on the interview or anything like that, let me know. Like, communicate with me. Let me know ideas to make this podcast better. Thank you so much for bearing with me. Like I said, I'm just in this crazy season, so some things are transitioning, but I'm gonna get back to like it being fun and, like, you know, a little different. But like right now, like I said, I gotta express myself somehow. So that's what this is. Listen to spoilers and have a good day, night, evening, however, wherever you're listening. Bye.